Pay close attention. The news you are about to see is fulfilling Bible prophecy.
Welcome to another edition of YPN News, bringing you news as it relates to Bible prophecy and foretold by Yeshua Hawkins. Well, heroin overdoses, mind-altering parasites, and another European nation picking up the pieces after a terror attack. Well, we start our broadcast off with how the state of Wisconsin is dealing with heroin and other opiate overdoses. From 2012 through the end of 2015, 888 people have died in Milwaukee County due to heroin or opiate overdoses. In fact, Common Council President Michael Murphy is calling this a public health epidemic after he released the results of a study he commissioned about heroin. Mr. Murphy said since 2005, we've seen a 500% increase in heroin deaths, and the results show that the problem is worse than what we have by far as it relates to homicides and accidents, car accidents. And that's, he said, of course, there's not one location that this is limited to because people are dying throughout the entire county. That's right.
Of those people who are dying, 70% are overdosing inside their own homes or apartments. And Mr. Murphy is submitting the numbers from his study to the Medical College of Wisconsin for treatment and prevention programs. And as a note, Catan, Milwaukee County is the most populous county in Wisconsin, so surely the numbers throughout the state are going to be on the rise as well.
I bet. Wow. Well, are you feeling a bit more angry lately? Maybe even more aggressive? Well, the problem may be in part in your head. A parasite called Toxoplasma gondii, toxo for short, this small parasite with a big name has shown to be responsible for altering the behavior of its host. The parasite reproduces in the stomach of cats and spends its entire life always trying to get back inside of one. For instance, when an animal like a mouse or rat gets infected with the parasite through the feline or the cat's excrement, the parasite gets into the rodent's brain.
And once there, it literally rewires the host brain, making the rodent fall in love with the cats. So that it'll go find one, and of course what's going to take place? Get eaten by the cat, and there the parasite accomplishes its goal.
Back in the gut.
So much in the same way humans can get infected with the parasite also through cat feces. Now, in fact, more than 1/3 of people in the world and 20% of people in the U.S. are infected with Toxoplasma gondii. It was previously thought that the vast majority never suffer any known effects.
Well, new studies have found that the parasitic infection has been linked to schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, suicide attempts, risk-taking, impulsiveness, and aggression. The study also found that people with the parasite score higher on anger and aggression tests, and people with anger disorders are twice as likely to have the parasite. Well, scientists speculate that because it's so common and it's being linked to mental illness, the odds are likely that it could translate to tens of millions of cases globally.
That's a lot. Well, the latest target for terrorism has been Brussels, Belgium. On March 22nd at 8 a.m., the height of rush hour in the Brussels airport, an explosion hit the departure hall and then another explosion 10 minutes later. Now, terrified travelers ran from the airport as smoke could be seen coming from the building.
Witnesses said after the first explosion, the ceiling was caving in on people. Many were injured. Then the second explosion was said to be louder and more destructive, causing more ceiling tiles to cave in and rupturing plumbing pipes overhead. Some described it as a war zone. Well, as planes circled over the airport, air traffic control had to actually turn them away because it was just too risky to land.
Too much chaos going on at the airport.
That's right.
Well, not long after the airport was attacked, another explosion could be felt as a train was leaving the Melbeck metro station located near the headquarters for the European Union. Well, so far, at least 28 people have died and dozens more injured between the two coordinated attacks.
Now, due to the acts of terror in the city, Brussels has shut down all of its public transportation, including, of course, as we just spoke about, the airport, the metro where the other attack was, buses and trains. Alert level has been raised to its highest, the maximum level that they have, and the U.S. Embassy has advised Americans in Brussels to shelter in place.
Now, Simon Marks, a freelance journalist, was an eyewitness to the metro blast. In an interview with RT, he described the scene, saying, "I was arriving near the European Council building where heads of state often hold meetings. You could see smoke coming out of the entrance of the metro station."
He continued, "There was many people who were injured pouring out onto the street, and soon afterwards there was many paramedics, police, military, soldiers, a lot of personnel arriving on the scene, obviously, to treat the wounded."
These coordinated attacks come as the Belgium capital has been on high alert following the arrest of suspected Paris attacker Salam Abdeslam last week. Now, European intelligence officials have been telling us for months it's not a matter or a question of if, but when the next terror attack would happen.
Now, we finally turn our attention to Federica Mogherini, the foreign minister who works on behalf of 500 million citizens of the European Union and representing the EU on such hot-button issues as Iran's nuclear power program, the Ukrainian crisis, a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and most recently, the influx of Mediterranean migrants, hundreds of whom have died at sea trying to reach Europe.
Well, this month she outlined her mission. The European Union is finally ready to take its own responsibilities, saving lives, welcoming refugees, addressing the root causes of the phenomenon, dismantling criminal organizations.
Well, on the day of the two attacks in Belgium, Mogherini was speaking in Jordan, praising Islam as a religion of peace and dialogue and cooperation, when she cut her speech short, breaking down in tears over the acts of terrorism taking place in her own country. Let's take a look.
We believe that the message that is coming from Amman constantly and consistently of an Islam that is an Islam of peace and dialogue and cooperation is what we need in this moment, here in the region and in Europe. I will stop here, you will understand this. Today is a difficult day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your strong message of support to Jordan. And we stand with you today and with our friends in Europe and with all peace-loving nations Sorry.
Katan, it must be hard for somebody who's so involved in trying to help others, bring peace to certain situations, and really improve the lives of so many that are suffering at this time. To have to experience that, you can tell she's definitely emotional over the whole situation.
Wonder if it feels like she has her hands tied at times, trying to bring peace, but only we're seeing war continuously.
Well, surely we can see the problems all over the world are getting worse daily. We can see hatred growing and love growing cold, as predicted for our generation. The nuclear burning that will darken the sun is the only prophecy left in this generation to be fulfilled, except for the gathering of the remnant by the house of Yahweh. Call, write, or email the house of Yahweh for absolute proof of these prophecies, and then become part of the greatest work on the face of the earth. Here's how.
When you contact the House of Yahweh, don't forget to request your free copy of the monthly newsletter and the Prophetic Word magazine. To contact the House of Yahweh, you can write them at the House of Yahweh, P.O. Box 2498, Abilene, Texas 79604, or call them at 1-800-613-9494. You can visit them on any of their websites at www.yahweh.com, www.yisraelhawkins.com, www.yahwehsbranch.com, or visit www.ypnnews.com. You can also email them at info@yahweh.com. And for all calls outside the United States, please dial the number on your screen. And don't forget the greatest study resource to the Holy Scriptures available today. Visit www.yisraelsays.com to aid you in gaining understanding.
Well, don't go anywhere. Up next, another inspiring message from Yisrael Hawkins. From all of us here at YPN News, I'm Jeffrey Heimerman.
And I'm Katan Alexander.
Thanks for watching.